Well, hey there, Hullhead. Clawed your way out of the groundbreaker at long last?
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, were you expecting me to say something? Maybe a long time no see, or a you've aged, old man? I thought you were dead. Or throwing yourself against the walls of some re-education center. It's been 5 years, Clyde. The best thing you can say is, hey there, Hullhead?
No, Felix. The best thing I can say to you is yet to come. Also, I'd like to have a word with your captain. So, you took Felix under your wing. Kept him busy. Good. Kid always needed a place to belong.
He's been watching out for us just as much as we've been watching out for him. Felix is family, mister.
Hear that, Clyde? I've been making something out of myself.
So long as you haven't been making a fool of yourself. I'm sure Felix has no end of stories to tell of your exploits together. I look forward to catching up with the boy. I'm working on something. Something big. Something the likes of which Halcyon has never seen. And I want Felix to be a part of my initiative. I'm fulfilling a promise I made to the boy, that one day, he and I would change the colony together. That day has finally arrived.
Easy there, Clyde. No one said nothing about throwing in with you. In case you didn't notice, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm not asking you to walk away from your captain, Felix. But neither should you allow yourself to be controlled by fear. Change is not to be feared. I brought you here because I want to know where Felix's loyalties lie. When the day of our revolution comes, I want to know that I can rely on him. Everyone in my crew proves their loyalty. No exceptions. Not even Felix. I want you to deal with a traitor for me. Name's Trask. Kill him, and bring me proof of his death. His ring should do nicely. Ratted us out to the board. He's been an informant. Has been for years. When he realized I was onto him, he and his little cadre mutinied. Killed 5 of my own and tucked tail. I don't know where he's hiding, but his wife might. Rosanna. Lives on the groundbreaker last I checked. Rosanna knows my crew by name and face, but you're a stranger to her. She'll talk to you.
Clyde offered me a hand when nobody else would. I'd say I owe him a good turn.
There you have it, Captain. A favor for an old friend.
You think so? Maybe we should have a word with Trask. Get his side of the story first.
You'd be wasting your breath bandying words with that traitor. But if it makes you feel better, by all means. Remember, I want proof. Bring me his ring. I don't care if the hand's still attached. Here, my token. Think of this as my personal signature. Anyone who knows me by my works will know me by this token. Well enough. It's been a few years, but I still remember a thing or two. You had a chip on your shoulder. You'd argue over anything, and you never backed down.
What do you mean, had? And for the record, you never could admit when you lost an argument.
You see what I had to deal with?
Where are we headed today, Captain? The stars are the limit. The Groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Chewbacca, aftertaste the rainbow.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly...
You mind trying to have a moment here? Rufus and I are no longer on speaking terms. I don't know where he is, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. That's Harlow's mark, no mistake. Guess he's not letting this one go. I don't want any manner of harm befalling Rufus. Not on my account.
We're not? Oh, right, yeah. We're non-violent sorts. Real diplomatic.
All right, you made your point. Rufus is hiding out in Emerald Vale. Got a few friends with him. That's as much as I know. Please, just make it quick. That's right. Our marriage contract expired some months ago. And seeing how he's technically an outlaw, I wouldn't renew even if I wanted to. Precious little. He and Rufus worked together on the Groundbreaker some years back before he vanished. A few years later, Rufus gets a message from an old friend. Something about starting a revolution, something about getting rich. Abandoned his work and ran off that very day.
He must have been recruiting. Gathering up his band of revolutionaries.
Word of advice, kid? Anybody carrying on about a revolution just wants to sell you something. I don't know Harlow. Never so much as bandied a word with the fellow. You're better off having this discussion with Rufus. Only that Rufus is in a bad way. He came to see me a little ways back. Said he had to go into hiding. Never asked why. He was here to collect his personals, complain about Harlow to me, and say goodbye. In that order. No, and he was particular about that. Said I was better off not getting entangled in his mess. Little late for that, says I. Appreciate it. No offense meant, just been a long day is all.
Rizzo's mock apple cider. A hard cider. A hard cider.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater, Captain.
One down! Everyone all right?
I don't know who you are or why you're prowling around here, but I'm willing to make a guess. You're one of Harlow's gun hands, ain't you? He sent you after me. Right. You just stumbled into a camp full of armed strangers because you wanted directions. How much is Harlow paying you? A favor, huh? Let me guess. He promised you some reward in the brave new world that was to come. Said he'd make you his lieutenant if you crossed me off. Thing is, you and I are at an impasse. Harlow wants me dead, and I've got no intention of dying. How do I know that I can trust you? Yeah, guess that's a fair point. Listen, I don't know what lies Harlow's dripped down your ear, but you'd be a fool to trust him. I never betrayed Harlow. Harlow betrayed all of us. The board's got him in their pocket, been paying him off for years. All that palaver about revolutions? It's a lie.
You're a real piece of work, Trask. Not just a turncoat, but a liar, too.
Go piss up a rope, kid. I've got nothing to prove to you. That's the whole truth. Harlow's just another board asset. A two-bit mercenary wearing a dissident's clothes. Yeah, I've got proof. There's always a paper trail when the board's involved. I chanced upon some correspondence between Harlow and his employer. I don't know that it makes a difference. What was I to do with that evidence? Bring it in front of the board? There's no authority in Halcyon willing to take Harlow to task. I hid my papers before Harlow chased me out. Back in the middle of the base, there's an old vent in a utility corridor. I stashed my evidence in that vent. Because he's for sale, anything the board can buy, the board will buy, and that includes loyalty. Harlow was a charismatic bastard, and he was ruthless. With Harlow in their pocket, the board had an informant, a pirate, a smuggler, and a gang leader all rolled up into one odious excuse for a human being. Sounds like a deal to me. Board-sanctioned piracy. Harlow went after the ships the board wanted destroyed, capturing anybody the board wanted captured. If we captured you, we'd ransom you. Harlow liked to do the job himself. Gather up the captives on his own ship, vanish for a couple of days. Only that's not what happened. Harlow's been selling his captives off to the board. I don't know where they ended up. Re-education, Tartarus, maybe worse. Take it you've made up your mind. You gonna tell Harlow I'm dead? May as well. I'm never going back to that life again. Here, take the ring. And for what it's worth, my gratitude.
Back for a rest? Space adventuring is tiring work.
What's the word? Not surprised. Trask was a dead man trying to negotiate with his own executioner. He'd say anything to preserve his life. That's a damning accusation. Am I right to presume you have some evidence on hand? Those papers don't prove a thing. We've all done business with the board. They own the whole damn colony. Trask put you up to this. That miserable wretch. He's trying to undermine everything I stand for. Listen to me, Felix. Don't go jumping to conclusions. This isn't what it looks like.
Yeah, because it looks like you've been taking money from the board. It looks like you sold out, Clyde.
Oh, come on, Felix. We've all taken money from the board. They run this colony. I can't pay my soldiers in ideological purity. If I have to take the board's money to buy my guns, outfit my troops, and prepare my revolution, then I'll do it.
Clyde, look me in the eye and tell me it's not true. Tell me, and I'll believe you.
Don't talk to me like I'm some common criminal, Felix. You're the one on trial, not me. I don't know what kind of poison that snake dripped in your ear, but as far as I'm concerned, you've been compromised.
Here they come!
Still got it!
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
This is definitely not how I imagined it'd end. The void's black, water's wet, and Clyde hated the board. That's something I just knew. Now? I don't know. I don't know what to think. No. I guess you really don't. I've just got a lot on my mind right now. This is a lot to take in. I always looked up to Clyde. The thought that he could be an agent of the board is just abhorrent to me. Yeah, he did. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna get over that. I hope so. I don't see this one passing anytime soon. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm gonna be mulling over this whole mess for a couple of days. I'm glad I didn't go back to Harlow. I've got all the family I need right here on our ship. Thanks for your time, boss.
We've arrived at the Groundbreaker. Stay safe out there.
Berry Crunch, Triple Flakes, and Purple Berry flavored Power Nuggets. Now with 1% more.
Were I a gambling woman, I'd wager you're responsible for my mechanical safe return. I can't thank you enough.
C&P Borston Baked Beans. When you need to eat and run, this is the only one.
Oh, neat! They got stuff in here I ain't seen in ages.
Wonder if they got some type of secret handshake.
Welcome to Sublight Salvage and Shipping, a legitimate business for legitimate consumers. You the one flying the Unreliable? Sure you are. Miss Lily has been expecting you. I'll unlock the door. Sure am. A few years back, they got me started on simple acquisitions. You know those latches they put on cargo bays ain't worth a damn? These days, I stick to HQ and look after Miss Lilia.
So you're the new captain in town. I was hoping you'd make your way to my office. Saves me the work of hunting you down. Lilia Hagen, CEO and Executive Director of Aggressive Operations. I'm guessing you already know about Sublight, otherwise you wouldn't have come. Charmed. It's nice to see the Unreliable again. Useful ship. Hawthorne was my contractor. I'd recognize that leaky boat of his anywhere. I didn't ask. I have a salvage job for someone light on corporate ties with a reliable set of wings. But there's a catch.
Does this make us Sublight agents now?
If you have a nav key to Stellar Bay, the job's yours. Interested? One of my guys in Stellar Bay has a lead on some high-grade salvage, but he went dark before he could spill the goods. We arranged a drop at the Saltuna warehouse's loading dock. Find whatever he left there and take it to Fallbrook. My gal Catherine will be expecting you. Now, get going. Catherine will brief you on the details when you check in with her at Fallbrook. One last thing. When you're on the job, keep a pair of eyes in the back of your head. Understood? You'll do fine. Probably nothing to worry about. Probably.
I ain't worried if you aren't, Captain. Honest. We're not gonna have to hurt nobody, are we?
CNP Burst Pockets can be microwaved in 2.5 seconds. Burst Pockets. Rizzo's Knock You Out Bar. The bar with caramel and pea-free nuts in it. It's time for a KYO.
Huh? Oh, I am alert and awake. Not to worry. I take our ship's security highly seriously. We're now in orbit above Fallbrook, Captain.
you're feeling like the civilized type, the waterfall's a good spot to wash your clothes.
Always imagined Fallbrook would be...
Cleaner? Fancier?
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
Go away, White.
That's not how the game works.
You ever worry all that ammo in your berth might combust?
What? Wait, it can do that?
All it takes is a little bit of black powder next to a lot of bits of fertilizer one real hot day, and I've seen it happen.
I don't know what's more unsettling. The concept of my ammunition spontaneously combusting, or the fact that this is the kind of thing you think about on the regular.
Hey, Velma, I got your captain.
You're a lifesaver. Hope Abigail...
You seen Arthur today?
Nah, last time I saw him
Catherine's great, ain't she? She'll pull you out of the sulfur, so long as you don't mind being in her debt.
You know how there's folk who are all crusty outside, but warm and squishy inside? I'm pretty sure she's crust all the way through.
Come for vice or virtue? 'Cause we only sell one here. Good of you to finally haul your ass over here. I wired for backup weeks ago. Got something that's gonna require special extraction from Cascadia. Found it on a corpse, huh? If you killed Lilia's agent, you get to explain it to her, not me. Well, shit. I knew he'd come to a bad end one day. Still, no time for weeping and wailing. We've got a metric fuck-ton of bits worth of salvage just waiting for extraction. Special as in unlawful, delicate, and deadly. As to the something, no, it ain't a person. Not this time. One of my runners uncovered a cache of Alta Vitae gas, left in a lab when the board abandoned Cascadia. To extract the gas, you'll need to siphon it from the lab in Cascadia into one of your ship's fuel tanks. Totally safe. Do I look like one of them egghead science types? All I know is that labs use it to create plants and livestock out of local species. But it's a controlled commodity, available only to the board, so it is of high value on the dark market. Meaning safe for me and my crew, seeing as it ain't us undertaking the risk. I do like your gumption, but let's not be hasty. To get to the gas, you'll need to navigate through the town, which is overrun by marauders. The lab itself has become an infested nest, crawling with manties. You gotta fight through or figure out some other way to exterminate them. Maybe the ventilation system?
And will again. We ought to be taking any opportunity we get to bury those critters in lead.
Direct and aggressive. I always did like your sensibilities. You know when to strike and when to wait. Shame what came of your crew.
Crews are for ships. They were a family.
Close enough. Now, after you clear the mantis nest and reach the storage room, all that's left is to get the gas flowing into the fuel system. The task will require someone with technical skills. Or you could force it through with a plasma overload. Don't recommend that option, though, unless you want to get dead.
Load vapors into a liquid propellant tank? I think I know how to do that. No, I can do that. I think. Yes. Mostly? Definitely.
Dandy. Did I mention the gas is of an extremely volatile nature? Handle it with the utmost of care. Once you've got our goods, take them to the groundbreaker. Lilia's fencers ought to handle the rest of it. I've marked the coordinates for you to the lab in Cascadia. On the terminal, use the passcode you got from Stellar Bay to get in. But before you make your run, I could use a heavy helping hand regarding a local issue. For a fine fee, of course. Good. This particular matter of opportunity has been eating at me for a while now. There's a Borst factory on up the way, run by a man who calls himself the King. Clive Lundberg, insufferable prick. That aside, it's a business ripe for the plucking. I want it. Clear as that. Stars, I hope so. Clive Lundberg, the self-proclaimed Borst King of Monarch, is swimming in profit and drowning in his ego. He's making the only meal to be had this side of Monarch, and I'm tired of ponying up for my dinner. I want that Borst factory, owner dead or alive. And you're the soon-to-be handsomely paid fucker who's gonna get it for me. Kill him, run him out. I don't rightly care for the details, so long as Clive knows resistance to me is costly and futile. Hit him where it hurts. And his gut or his production lines ought to make do. If you got brass knockers, you could shoot your way through the front gate. If you don't fancy getting shot to shit, you can try asking Duncan for a disguise. Might be another way in, assuming you're courageous enough to trek the sewers. Void if I know. Sometimes the simplest solution is the sweetest. I don't give a whit about the method or the means, just the end. It'll be more than good when you're finished. Maybe not for Clive, but for me and you, I'm sure. Oh, and if you don't fancy going in guns blazing or crawling through a sewer pipe, see Duncan in the Dry Goods and Sundry building. He ought to have an employee ID in that stash of illicit goods he keeps for select clientele. May luck be with you, since I won't be.
I don't think I like Miss Catherine. Not just on account of the swearing, though she swears awful much.
Hungry? I'm famished myself. No rubbernecking. Make a buy or move on. Not so fast. The biometric IDs are special goods, only on offer to special clients. You cotton? She needs it for a job? Well, why didn't you say so? Reckoned you asked her where to best procure one, and she obligingly pointed you my way. Give me a jiffy to break. I mean, calibrate the ID. This goes like that. Nope, not quite right. A bit to the left, mayhaps. That'll do it. For a CMP factory line worker, she sure is a beauty. Careful. I'm trusting you to guard this specialty good with your life. I mean it. Lose the ID and you don't get another. Also, you'll be off my list of unwholesome customers. Will that be all, or do you require something to say, scratch your itch?
What job did the board assign you when you came of age? Bet it was something real neat, like professional flexing.
Wilderness patrol. Plenty of folk traveling on foot out there, even back when there were roads. I protected them from raps and the like.
Oh gosh. And here I was jawing about how I was watching your back. I'm probably more like to get in your way.
Everyone needs someone watching after them. Even me. Even if I ain't keen to admit it sometimes.
That's the last of them!
Thank you! There you go!
We did it!
Ah, this factory offers the loveliest aromas. Like if you cook borscht over a sulfur pit.
Ah, you must be a part of the new line shift. Don't tell me you lost your key card already. A lost card's worth 2 infractions, you know. Depends on what you got. But I reckon we can work something out. Pleasure doing business with you. You weren't never here and I didn't give you this card.
A busy worker is a happy worker. System. Investigating.
Got it. Heads down.
Returning to...
What? That's odd.
Death penalty of death.
Hey, Cass. Knock, knock.
Go away, White.
That's not how the game
Please say the Oda corpse you're wearing is Clive's. Huh. Not much boast to that declaration. Am I to take that to mean you didn't kill him? Hired more than we're successful, can tell you that. Still, this ought to compensate for your troubles. And take an aromatic. You stink like Sisty Pig. I'll presume you mean Arthur, the one you sent scurrying back like a sprat with his tail cut off? Reckon I'm happy he's alive. I'd be happier if the marauders who botched my drop were dead.
Pick up any more strays while you were out? I suppose if the crew's quarters fill up, we could hang hammocks in the cargo hold.